right. It is Monday night, and you know what that means. It's time for another edition of the Calvary Coaches Show here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. As it is basketball season, we had high school basketball media day yesterday, and I am excited because now that it's basketball season, we are just excited that we're going to be live streaming many games on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. I'm going to try to have both basketball coaches on. Probably going to be a bi-weekly thing, but the first basketball coach I'm going to have from Calvary is the head basketball coach of the boys team, Coach Jonathan Gordon. As I had you on a couple of months ago, just talking about basically the offseason and getting ready for this upcoming season. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Doing great. I know we did talk yesterday at Media Day. It was a great event. I mean, we kind of got a feel of how the season is going to start. But just talk about the process leading up to this season. When did you officially begin practice? And what were some of the things that you were working on getting prepared for this season, which is a couple weeks away?
Practice began for us on October 21st. That was the first day we were allowed to practice for GIAA. And, of course, we follow the rules here at Calvary Christian. So we started practice that day. And since that day, we just hit the ground running. Our guys have been playing a lot of basketball in the offseason. So practice really is just about fine-tuning everything that we've been doing up to that point, putting in our sets, putting in defenses and things of that nature. They already kind of understand how we want to play in our culture and kind of our identity. But really it's just putting in our defenses, putting in our offenses. I kind of let them this fall league and in summer, we just kind of play basketball, didn't really put in too much stuff. And so that's what practice has really been about so far.
All right, we are a couple of weeks away from the official start of the season, which will kick off November the 19th. And you are hosting Harris County, which is a 4A school out of the GHSA. But we know, Coach, from last year, you're not afraid to schedule GHSA schools, GIAA schools, GAP schools. It doesn't really matter. You're up for the competition.
Right.
We're excited because we're going to be there to live stream that game on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. But we were also talking about you are going to have a scrimmage next week, and that's against the Jordan Red Jackets, right, Coach?
Yes, sir, on November 12th.
All right, so November 12th. By the way, the girls' team is going to be playing Springwood, and that is an official game?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I tell you what, Coach, as you could tell, I'm excited because, my virtual background is your gymnasium. We're excited to be back in the Calvary Gymnasium as I was there for volleyball. And by the way, you did a fantastic job as the public address announcer for the volleyball team.
I appreciate it.
But Coach, let's talk about Harris County. Did you get a chance to see them during media day yesterday? They got a new coach coming in. Coach Baird is the assistant under Coach Tommy Watson. I mean, this is a 4A school that only won 5 games last year. He's looking to improve, and this is going to be a matchup that we are really looking forward to. But have you been able to scout Harris County?
No, not really. I know that they I've trained 1 or 2 of their guys in basketball training because outside of coaching, I do basketball training as well. But I trained a couple of their former players, and so last year they were kind of senior heavy. A lot of their guys that played a lot of minutes have graduated and moved on, and so I expect them to be kind of young this year. So I haven't really got a chance to see them, and obviously with a new coach, he's going to bring in new plays and new defensive concepts and all that type of stuff. So they'll be a different team. So the main thing, man, I'm not really too worried about scouting right now. I'm just kind of focused. I feel like we have enough talent, enough size, and enough IQ that if we just kind of focus on what we need to do well, we should be fine. So right now, scouting will be a part of our season moving forward. Once some teams play some games and I can get some film on Huddle, you know how it goes. But right now, we're just kind of, for those first couple games, we just need to focus on us, build our culture, and get a little bit better. The main thing is just getting ready for region play, man. So these GHSA schools will definitely get us ready for that.
Yeah, and absolutely. And then you have a road game on the 22nd of November, which you are going to Columbus. Great gymnasium. It's just a historic place. Great atmosphere. I love just these matchups that we're getting to see for the very first time this season. And then you're taking on a GAP school, New Creation Christian Academy. And now this is a GAP school that you didn't play last year. And then also on the 26th of November, another big gate. Coach, I'm excited about this matchup because I love the coaching matchup. Is you're
Oh,
taking Hardaway Hawks. Coach Kendall Mills is a friend of ours. He's
great
you know,
guy.
he's part of Georgia Alabama Sports Live. I love seeing these battles, and I know that you're looking forward to that as well, Coach. By the way, I mean Hardaway graduated all 12 of their seniors from last year. So
I think it was
Coach
13. Yeah.
13 seniors graduated. So Coach Mills has got a brand new team. He was talking about he's got a lot of JV players from last year and some newcomers as well.
Step up for sure.
And then on the road to Central Talbotton, which is about 45 minutes outside of Columbus. Have you been to Talbotton to play Central there, or would this be the first time making that trip?
As far as Calvary, or as far as me as a player?
Yeah, as far as Calvary, and you as a player.
So as a player, they were used to be in our region. So I played against them a lot when I was at Brookstone. And it was a lively. Anytime you go to a country town, man, a county town, the atmosphere is going to be lively because I mean, there's not a lot to do in the county. So when the lights turn on and there's a game on, people show up. So we're excited about going out there this year. Talked to the coach. He said they'll be probably young this year. And we actually played them last year at home, so we owed them a game, and so we're excited about going back and playing them again this year. As far as the Hardaway game, I'm looking forward to that. Like you said, with the matchup with Coach over there, he does a really good job with those guys, and I love the fact that he had those guys in suit and ties yesterday for the for the media day. But that just goes to show you how what type of character he's instilling into his players. So I'm really excited to go against Coach Mills. Against Columbus High, man, I'm super excited. I love playing in that gym as a player. And it's always a lively atmosphere at Columbus High. They always bring out a good atmosphere, and so I'm excited for my guys to get that feeling and get those games early where they're going to play in front of a lot of people and it's going to be heckling and all those type of things. They can go ahead and get that experience early, and it should be a good game. I'm really excited about Columbus playing against them. They got a couple guys that are really talented, and they should have a pretty good season this year. So we're looking forward to all those early matchups and also the new creation game. To be honest with you, last year I think TJ Benson should have been an All-State player, and New Creation was one of the teams that didn't vote him in for that. So that's why that game is on the schedule. I'm going to be flat out honest with you.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're looking forward to it, Coach. Let's talk about Media Day. I know it was just great just to get in front of the camera. And we know, Coach, that you just definitely love talking about Calvary basketball. And it was also an opportunity for your players to get in front of the camera. You had TJ Benson, Liam Holcutt, and you also have a new player who played overseas last year. Just talk a little bit about the new player that you have added to this Calvary team.
All right. Well, before I talk about Dylan Hostin, I want to talk about some of the new additions that we have outside of him as well. We have Shawdell Irvin, who came over from Shaw.
Right.
Just transferred in this year for his senior year. He's a sharp shooter, really coachable kid, always smiling, always has a positive attitude. Really excited to add him to our program. He's a great culture fit to our school as well as our basketball team. He's participated in cross country. He did the cheerleading for the girls powder puff game. He's just been a huge part of our school since he's gotten here. So I'm really excited about how he's going to stint on our basketball team this year. We also added a kid that's actually been at Calvary, but this is his first year playing basketball. 6'6" baseball player, Liam Anderson. He's been great for us. Again, another great culture guy, great positive kid. He grabs every board around him. And for this being his first year of basketball, we played. They played against Carver in fall league, and that was the first time ever playing basketball before. He grabbed down 15 rebounds. So to play a physical team like Carver and grab that many rebounds, I'm really excited about his role in our team. And last but not least, we did add Dylan Hostin, who's a London native. He played last year 2 years in a school in Florida. And so I had some people that know him that he played, and he also played AAU with TJ and also Dylan Walls. And so he kind of met me, and they wanted to make a school change, and so he decided to make his change to Calvary. And we're really lucky to have him. He's a sharp shooter at 6'5". He can handle the ball. He can play some point guard. He can play in the post. He also defends well. He rebounds well. He does a little bit of everything well on the court. We're continuing to work on his skill level and to continue to hone in on everything that he does. But he kind of gives us just a guy that does a little bit of everything. in the post and at the guard position. So we're really excited about the guys that we have coming back, especially after the year that TJ had individually. We wanted to make sure that we develop the guys that we have this year, that we had last year, and also add a couple pieces that can help us to be a better team. So really excited about it.
Well, Coach, I'm excited that you've added pieces around TJ, other scoring options, because I've seen a lot of teams double and triple TJ. I mean, was that kind of the game plan for defenses? They know that TJ Benson can score at will, drive to the basket, but these teams are trying to double and triple him. And was that like the game plan?
Well, we had some really good players last year that was playing with TJ. They were just young. Like you had Tyler Freeman,
Yeah.
who had a 50, like you said yesterday, he had a 50-point game. So we always knew the talent was there. But a lot of people don't notice about Tyler. Tyler's a year younger than his grade. He's really was supposed to be an eighth grader last year.
Wow.
So technically he was an eighth grader that scored 50 points. But, when you have youth, they go up and down. He had a 50-point game, then he had a 0-point game. Then he had a 5-point game. Then he would have a 12-point game. Then he have 2 0-point games in a row. So as a young player, you're not as you have to. It takes time to learn consistency. So last year they did kind of double up and triple up on TJ a lot because they knew we had young players. You also had Liam Hocutt, who was a good player for us that had multiple double-digit games. But again, he was 15 years old, trying to figure out his role on the team with a new coach, and he was young. So I think with Tyler being 1 year better, and Tyler's grown from 5'9" to 6'2", so he's made a huge adjustment, a huge growth in his game as well as physically. And also Liam grew from about 6'3" to 6'4", 6'5", and he's put on more muscle. He's added a lot to his game. So just naturally, those guys getting older, they're going to already be a quote-unquote extra addition to our team, along with the guys that we added. So overall, man, I would say I think you're going to see a huge improvement from this Calvary team. And I think just, throwing them in the fire last year as young guys, new coach, young players, throwing them in the fire against Carver, against Creekside, and teams like that. They got beat, but they learned how to compete. They learned how to play hard, and I think that's gonna reap results for this year.
Well, Coach, I want to go back to the schedule because you've got a very strong schedule, a mixture of GHSA schools, GAP schools, GIAA schools. I'm excited to see that you are actually in the Muskogee County Christmas Showcase, taking on Spencer, and in the Border Wars, going to take on Morgan County, which is a 2A GHSA school, and then Deerfield Windsor, which is a GIAA school. And then you get ready for region play starting in the beginning of the year. Right. Just talk about what goes into creating the schedule. Like what type of teams do you want to face before you get to region play?
You just want to face as many different teams as you can. You're going to face some teams, like I said last night, that like to move the ball and shoot threes. You're going to face teams that like to drive to the basket. You're going to play some teams that like to play half court man or half court zone. You're going to face some teams that want to press. You want to see every different look before the season starts. That way you give your kids an opportunity to play against different looks, different defenses, and that way they won't be surprised by anything by the time region comes around. So our schedule is really intentional. We want to make it tough. We also want to diversify it as well. And we just want them to be able to play against guys that, like I said last night, some of our guys want to play in college. And so they want to play against the best competition as much as they can around the city. And they also want to get respect for they also want their respect. They want to play against teams, public school. They want to play against the Shaws and the Spencers, so that people can know like they'll play against anybody. They have a chip on their shoulder and they want to show that. And so I try to schedule a hard schedule for them so that they can play, their peers around the city, public and private.
Well, Coach, after the Border Wars, you start the new year hosting Savannah Christian, which is a private school out of the GHSA. And then on January the 7th, I have to make sure to get this game out there so everybody could try to pack the visitor side in the land, take it on Pacelli. You know that Georgia Alabama Sports Live is going to be there. Sure. Westfield School is another region opponent. I mean, you got Strong Rock that you start out the year on the road in Locust Grove. So you get right into region play in the GIAA. One thing about this region that's different from last year, Brookstone and Pacelli had to play Heritage, and Heritage is no longer in this region.
No,
But
sir.
when you looked at the region last year, Pacelli obviously is the defending GIAA champions. Brookstone lost to Pacelli in the GIAA playoffs. When you look at where your team stacks up with the likes of Westfield School and Strong Rock, where do you think Calvary is in this region when it comes to the four other teams that you have to face?
I think we match up well. I think size wise, we'll probably be, if not the biggest, one of the biggest. I mean, Pacelli has a lot of size, as well as Brookstone has a lot of size. But we'll match up size wise, and we have some talent, like I said, coming in this year, as well as some talent that we've developed. I think we match up well. Westfield had they have a lot of football players, and so with that, I know they're going to be physical. Um, as well as Strong Rock. I know they lost, their best player from last year, but you never know what they may add to their team. Obviously, like you said, Pacelli's loaded. They've been loaded for the last couple of years. I actually coached there for 2 of those years, and we made it to a state championship, lost by one. Um, and then obviously they won it last year. They brought back some really good players. They lost some talent, but they don't sleep on Pacelli. Don't think just because they lost a couple of players that don't mean they won't be just as good, maybe just as good as they were last year. And then Brookstone added Savon Kelly, which is going to be a really physical rebounder, high energy guy, along with the guys that they already had. So it's gonna be, it's gonna be a tough region, man. But we're up for the challenge, and I'm really excited to see how our guys respond. I think it'll be some really good battles. The best part about this region this year is that every private school in Columbus is now in the same region. And
Yes.
so the kids have a good time with making it a rival game, showing up, cheering, being loud, and the atmosphere is always crazy at a Pacelli Brookstone or a Brookstone Calvary or a Calvary Pacelli. The atmosphere is going to be great. The kids are going to make it fun. They're going to talk their trash and all that good stuff. But it'll be a great atmosphere for the kids and also for the coaches. Man, we all know each other. I grew up with Carl. We played basketball together since we were little. I actually coached with Coach Thomas in AAU. So us all knowing each other, it'll be a family atmosphere, but it will definitely be competitive.
And we're excited at Georgia Alabama Sports Live because we get to live stream these games. So and then Brookstone, you're hosting Brookstone on January the 14th. And then you're going to be playing Brookstone at Brookstone. We talked to Brookstone. We are going to try to live stream as many Brookstone games as possible, even the road games that Calvary will be facing Brookstone. Back playing Pacelli on January the 28th at Calvary. Looking forward to that as well. Finally, Coach, I want to try to get you out on that as we did lose your video, but that's okay. Coach, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
All right. Well, I was just going through the schedule. My last thing to you is just how can people support Calvary basketball? I know that you have packed gymnasiums, great support from the students,
Right.
but they want to come out and they want to be right in this gym that have a virtual background for and just come support not only the Calvary boys but the Calvary girls. I was actually looking at the schedule. I was trying to match up the girls' schedule and the boys' schedule because we're going to be live streaming both.
Yes,
But
sir.
I think it's great that you start with the middle school, then the JV. I mean, when does the middle school play? Normally, like 3 in the afternoon, because it seems like all the teams end up playing, and then the varsity finally wraps up the day.
Right. So for we only have a couple games like that where we'll play all day with middle school and varsity. Most of our middle school games are usually on Mondays and Thursdays, and varsity tries to play on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So actually, middle school starts tomorrow against Brookstone.
Oh,
Tomorrow
it got rescheduled.
it did get rescheduled, so we'll play tomorrow against Brookstone at 4:30 and 5:30. So middle school will start off our season. They'll play about 4 or 5 games before we start playing our first games. But I mean, if people want to come support Calvary, I think is the best kept secret when it comes to the fan support and how live our games are. It's been that way for a while. For a while, Calvary didn't have a football team, so basketball was the only sport they had, and people always showed up to support Calvary games. And so I would recommend, man, just to come out and just see our student section, come out and see the product that we put on the floor, as well as just how lively our gym is. I think people would be shocked as how just how lively it is and how great the atmosphere is. And also, I mean, if you can't come out, I know Georgia Alabama will be a lot of our home games. If you want to just come kind of just catch the type of talent that we have. I think just kind of like you said, playing against those public schools, it'll really kind of give us the opportunity to kind of show people like the type of talent that we have at Calvary and the type of program that we're trying to build. And so again, I just want to kind of get 1% better every year. Uh,
Yes.
can keep improving on every year. We want to improve on what we did last year, but I'm really excited about it, and I think people should come out and just come support us, and go on match preps, look at the schedule, see when we have home games, and just come out and see the show.
Yeah, and if you can't make it to the gym, you can always watch us on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. We are the exclusive home of Calvary Athletics. We've already live streamed Calvary football, Calvary volleyball, Calvary softball, Calvary middle school. We were there for that middle school championship when you were busting out the pipes singing the national anthem. You did a great
Yeah,
job there, Coach.
appreciate it.
And then, of course, we'll be there for baseball and, of course, the basketball season. Thank you so much, Coach Gordon, for coming on the Calvary Coach Show. And good luck against Harris County. We're looking forward to seeing you against the scrimmage against Jordan next week, and looking forward to having you back on.
All right, man. No problem. I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. The Calvary head basketball coach, Coach Jonathan Gordon. Thank you so much for watching another episode of the Calvary Coaches Show. We will see you next week.